My name is Jaco van Buren-Schele, or Schele, I've heard people pronounce it here in the Netherlands. I am an accountant by trade. I'm the CFO, Group CFO of Monocle Solutions. I've spent the last 17 years consulting in banks in South Africa, Europe, Asia, United Kingdom. I am very much Dutch in my background, even though I've been living in South Africa all my life. My great-great-grandfather immigrated to South Africa from the Netherlands in 1857. There's a small town called Weeselo where there's a Protestant church, and there are stained glass windows that I've seen with the family crests of Van Buren-Schele. So somehow these two families have combined. So I speak Afrikaans as my native language, so very much Dutch in terms of my background. I'm here to introduce Monocle, so another commercial break if you would let me. I'm here to introduce our company, my colleagues, and we believe that most of the people here are feeling the acute pain of the skills shortage, and I've heard everybody speak about that. We believe that we can help alleviate that, not solve that, alleviate that. Now, like Morten mentioned, we're new to the Netherlands market, and we'll be investing a great amount of time and energy here. Our company is not new, however, like you mentioned. We have been going for 20 years. But let me tell you a little bit more about the topic first today. So banking, in our opinion, is a very complex business. Right? So the amount of regulation, the volumes of customers, the volumes of data, the susceptibility to disruption, the fast-moving tech and innovation that David just spoke about, makes it an industry that is more reliant on constant and effective change than any other, in my opinion. Right, so David spoke about RegTech and the different levels of machine learning. Now, RegTech is fantastic and it's absolutely the way to go, but the reality is that machines are not yet there that can implement themselves. They need humans to implement them in banking. Right? If we just look at some statistics that our research department has found, we're looking at more than 120,000 pages of regulations that banks need to know and implement in their organizations. $214 billion globally spent on financial crime compliance to date. That's enormous. Not a very nice stat. The Netherlands is the 7th worst country in the world in terms of cybercrime density. Banking obviously being a massive target of that. Another not so pleasant stat, 3.8 out of 5 is the highest consumer satisfaction rating of a bank in the Netherlands. I won't name it. Then 90% of CIOs report that data migration projects fail to meet deadlines as a result of complexity. And then another point around the disruption. 250 plus digital banks with digital payment, with digital finance providers that have popped up over the years, half of which aren't regulated, half of which aren't shackled the same way banks are at the moment. Now in Europe, and especially in the Netherlands, you have exceptionally skilled people, more so probably than anywhere else in the world. The problem is just that you don't have enough people. And that inability to bring in more people, and if we refer to, there's a Financial Times article that was published a couple of weeks ago that speculates that the Netherlands has hit the limits of their growth because of overpopulation, inability to bring in more people, inability to scale the economy further. That creates a long-lasting skills shortage, in our opinion. Okay. So what is the solution? We think that banks need to start thinking outside of the box and outside of their normal sphere of solution providers. In our research and in our dealings thus far with the Dutch market, we found that banks augment their change teams mainly in 4 different ways. So they either hire, or they use the independent labor market, which seems to be quite a big thing, the ZZPs in the Netherlands. They use the Big Four and the settled management consultants in country, or they go offshore to India, Poland, those countries. The point is that 3 out of those 4 solutions takes and draws from the same talent pool. Right? And in doing so, you are just creating further pressure on the talent pool, and it becomes a zero-sum game of hiring from your competitors and losing to your competitors. So in our opinion, in order to solve that, you need to find a solution where people are available, they're knowledgeable, they're affordable, they are in the same time zone, where they speak the same language, at least native English. Now, that is where Monocle comes in. So if I can introduce ourselves, we're a management consultancy firm. We focus only on banking, well, banking and insurance in South Africa, but in the offshore market, only banking. We have offices in South Africa, United Kingdom, and in London, and we've been running for 20 years. Now, our clients turn to us when they need to implement regulations, right? Or when they need to optimize the reporting and the processes around risk, finance, treasury, and compliance, and predominantly, again, around those regulatory frameworks. So some of our recent projects include, for instance, it's a limited list, but it's Basel IV implementations, fundamental review of the trading book, IFRS 9, IFRS 17 for insurance, BCBS 239 for risk data aggregation. Now, a very important point is we are management consultants, we're not a resourcing firm, which means that we take ownership and responsibility of delivery as a company, not in our underlying resources. We as a company ensure continuity of the team and of the delivery capability. On top of that, we bring methodologies and approaches to implementation that we've developed over the years. Now you might say, as a South African, predominantly South African company, what do we know about complex regulations in Europe and in the UK? And the answer is surprisingly quite a lot. We have been working internationally for many years. In fact, most of our early years were spent in Iceland and in Denmark and in the UK implementing regulatory projects. But on top of that, South African banks are surprisingly advanced, despite our economy and our politics being a bit of a mess. Right? So all of our big banks have global footprints. They're across multiple jurisdictions. They are all on advanced approaches for credit risk, market risk, liquidity risk, operational risk. Our regulator is very advanced and closely follows the regulatory frameworks of the United Kingdom, Europe, and that of the Bank of International Settlements. So it's a very advanced banking industry in South Africa. Our people in Monocle all have postgraduate degrees in risk and finance, so we don't come from the IT side, we come from the business side of the spectrum, which enables our staff and our consultants to have conversations with CROs, CIOs, and their designates, heads of risk, heads of finance, heads of treasury. And then lastly, on Monocle, we are currently engaged with 2 Dutch banks in the Netherlands through one of our software partners, so not directly at the moment. Now, our strength lies in our approach to finding and developing the right talent. Right? So we have, over the years, we've built a fantastic brand in South Africa, one of the strongest brands in financial services. I forgot to mention that we've been awarded some accolades around most innovative financial services solution in South Africa. We're registered in the UK with the Financial Services Standards Board, or Standards Qualifications Board, something like that, as a quality financial supplier. So we've built this brand and we've built this machine which is able to attract top talent in South Africa and abroad and develop that talent. So we've built a very strong in-house training function which teaches banking knowledge, regulatory knowledge, coding skills, data management and analysis skills, communication skills, critical thinking skills, whatever we think is necessary to create a person and somebody that, in our opinion, is a super consultant, somebody that can execute in a fantastic way, in a modern change execution way. Our strength lies in our partnerships, and that's what we believe is truly unlocking value for our clients. With most of our big customers, we have spent 15 years working on countless projects. And that allows us to build up very in-depth institutional knowledge of the client. So when we come onto a client, when we start a new project, we're able to hit the ground running. And that is the kind of model that we want to bring into the Netherlands. Now, all of this is fantastic. You might say, but you guys are in South Africa, and how do you alleviate the skills shortage? The point is that pre-COVID, we were all working on client sites. That was our model. We thought we had to be in our clients' faces in order to be able to add value. Then COVID struck. Within weeks, 250 to 300 people moved off-site from our company to work from home. We thought it was a disaster, some initial teething issues, and then within a couple of months, we saw that there was enormous opportunity there. Because we all of a sudden had people in South Africa working in clients in the Netherlands, working in clients in the UK. That solved a huge logistical issue for us, because we had no longer had to travel all across the world. But more importantly, we were able to pass on significant cost savings to our customers in terms of the management consulting fees and the professional fees. The model that we want to introduce to you today as Monocle, as new entrants into the Dutch market, is that model, is that hybrid consulting model. We have an office in Amsterdam, commercials is in Amsterdam, we have some of our senior management consultants, directors and principals based here in Amsterdam. But the project leadership will be here, but the project execution will be offshore. That allows us to bring in highly skilled people at a short point, in a short period of time, to execute offshore at a very highly affordable price. Okay. Lastly, just from my side, we do not expect, as new entrants into the market, to be handed a massive project. We're not that naive. We want the opportunity to prove ourselves. We want the opportunity to grow and develop partnerships over many years. And we hope to be afforded that opportunity and to get to know our clients here in the Netherlands market. Lastly, I would like to introduce two gentlemen that are here with me today. Theo Kum, he's our Director for Business Development and Research, sitting right there. And then lastly, Johan Dupasani, he's one of our principal consultants, senior consultant, sitting right here in the front. He's permanently based in Amsterdam, one of our permanent Amsterdam employees. I really look forward to meeting everybody here today, networking, answering questions, and then over the next many years to build a relationship. Thank you for the opportunity.